All right, good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Um, I can't figure out between my back and my foot. I don't know what to do. I don't know what it is, if it's gout, if it's arthritis, whatever. But it was very uncomfortable yesterday to even try to concentrate. So I didn't. Again, I start work Friday, so I'm trying to heal up. I did go to the club and soak my body in a hot tub. The problem was walking there was painful, and then walking back to the car was painful. And my foot like throbs for an hour, and then I finally take my ibuprofen and throw some ice on it, and then it kind of relaxes and I can sleep. But it's hard to sleep when it's throbbing. Anyway, enough about that. So fortunately, I work from home. I can just sit here and ice my foot while I work. So, and Friday, I don't even have my computer yet. I had to finish off my background check. These idiots, they hire it out to these people that are ridiculous, and then they call the company. Did Professor work there? And then they say, "Oh, I didn't get a response." Well, my guy at Mercedes called them right back. Said, "Yeah, he worked here." But they didn't record it. So they don't like they like leave the message. And in their minds, if they don't, when they call, if they don't talk to somebody, even though they leave a message and the person calls back, they don't, for some reason, acknowledge that they call back. So my guy said, I called them right back. I told them he worked here. I says, yeah, I know. We're dealing with idiots, unfortunately. So anyway, I'm all set. I'm waiting on a computer, which probably will be here tomorrow. I start Friday, and it's not here tomorrow. It's here Friday. It's not a big deal. First day I'll probably just look at the ledger and cost centers and projects and stuff like that. They don't expect you to know day one, unless it was Teaserking or economics. That would be different. All right, what are we going to talk about? So, NFL draft, we've talked about. Um, I kind of did the whole video. So if there's any questions or comments you want to know about it, or, again, my theory is I want to take a defensive player from a defensive team, right? I think Oakland took the defensive player from Texas Tech. And you're like, okay, they don't really have a good defense. So I think the thought process in my mind is if this guy's so good, they would have had they'd have had a better defense. That's my point. And too many of the time I see them taking guys because they're athletic. That doesn't make them football players. Athletes are athletes, but look at Nehemiah Wilson, the high jumper in the Olympics in the 80s. The Niners had him. He wasn't a great receiver, but he was a great high jumper. Ronaldo Nehemiah, Skeets Nehemiah. So just because you have an athlete doesn't make him a football player. And I think that's the problem these idiots are doing. Like this Richardson quarterback from Florida. He stinks, but he's an athlete. Well, I don't care that he's an athlete, but he ain't a quarterback. He might be a wide receiver. Maybe he's a running back. That's what you're looking for. Pardon me while my foot, I got to keep it on the chair. If I let it go, the blood is not flowing properly here. It's going down, but if I just sit, it just goes, it's not flowing. It's not cycling. That's why I got to lay a lot or put ice on it or something to make sure that the blood, otherwise, if I just sit like this, the blood goes down to the foot and doesn't come back. So I don't really know what's wrong with it. But the fact that it doesn't stick around long, although this is the first time where it's going and coming and coming and going, and so I might have to go to the doctor if this keeps up. But anyway, right now, taking my ibuprofen, and it's getting better. I can walk on it. Takes a minute to get walking, but I think it helps when I walk on it. But I don't know if I'll go to the pool today. Anyway, so that's my point on the draft. I would draft guys who are good in college, because if they're not good in college, they're not going to get better in the pros, right? The skill set you're playing in college, like when you play Georgia, that's where I measure you. Because if you can't handle, if so let's look at Richardson. Against Kentucky, he did nothing. Against Tennessee, he did nothing. Against Florida, against Georgia, he did nothing. He did something against maybe Ole Miss or Mississippi State or some of the weaker teams, but I don't think he did anything against. I don't think they beat Florida State. So if you're beating teams that have some pros, but Georgia's got a lot of pros, when you play Georgia, you get your ass kicked. That's the NFL. So if you can't do it there, where you're going to all of a sudden you played a pro team, you got your ass kicked, and now all of a sudden you're going to play better in the pros, and that's really the point of it. That's the strategy of how I look at drafts. That's why I love Joe Burrow, because he did it against the Alabama and Georgia and Clemson and all the big teams. He put up 45 points. So then you're going, fuck, this guy, he can do it against them. And that's why I sit there with the Alabama guys and Trevor Lawrence. They did it against the weak teams without a lot of pros on it. When they got into the big games, when Alabama had to play Georgia and Clemson had to play LSU and Clemson had to play Ohio State, he didn't show up, right? Against better competition, Trevor Lawrence doesn't show up. Lamar Jackson doesn't show up. This Richardson's not going to show up. Levis isn't going to show up. Hooker really had a hard time against Georgia, but he really didn't have a chance. The little difference, because he went back to pass, he was sacked. So he really didn't have that, what are you going to call it, right? He is it him if he goes back and gets sacked or not? And that's the thing. So that's how I view it. Alabama, this guy against Georgia didn't show up. Look at the championship game. I don't think they scored 7 points 2 years ago. Last year they didn't play Georgia, so he had a decent game against Tennessee. He didn't have a good game against Texas or Texas A&M. He had to come from behind to beat Texas like 24-20 or something like that against A&M. Also didn't put up big games, and they did not have big defenses. Kansas put up 40 on Texas. So that's why I'm against him, because he's doing it against weak talent. And then so he puts up big numbers against weak talent. And that's the problem I have with CJ Stroud and the rest of the Ohio State guys. They don't put up big numbers, and most of the Big Ten sucks. And then you get like this year, the defense of Illinois and the defense of Iowa. Iowa's always got the defense, but Illinois had a strong defense. Minnesota had a fairly strong defense. Michigan had a fairly strong defense. And C.J. Stroud, we know, didn't show up both years against Michigan and their defense. So in the big game, he doesn't show up. Against Georgia, he ran more, but looks like that's how you beat Georgia. LSU put up a lot of points, the running quarterback, and then Ohio State put up a lot of points with a running quarterback, not a drop backer. So if he just went and dropped back, he'd have no time like Hooker did, and that's what happened to TCU. The guy had no time, but Stroud ran. But that's again not what we want. We want a passing quarterback. So that's basically the thought process. And I hate when the guy says, well, you can't predict the draft until 2 years later to see if anybody – that's bullshit. That's a guy who doesn't know what he's doing is saying that, so he doesn't look bad. In my mind, yeah, I can tell you, and I do. If you go back to my draft videos for the last 10 years, you'll see I'm pretty much dead on. I told you Darnell sucked. I told you Lamar's not going to do good. Josh Rosen, Baker I thought was okay, and a few others. But basically, I nailed the guy. I said Burrow's Joe Montana, and he's Joe Montana. So, pretty good about that based on how they play big games in college. Because if you don't play good in the big game in college, how are you going to play good just in a regular game in the pros when you got everybody's good, right? There's no weakness. So like Urban Meyer said, it's like playing Alabama every week. Well, that's such a stupid thing. What did Urban Meyer think he was getting himself into coaching Jacksonville? Didn't he think the pros were as good as Alabama? Maybe not. Maybe he thought Alabama was better than the pros. Anyway, I thought that was strange. So that's why I talk the way I do with these Ohio State quarterbacks, the Alabama quarterbacks. They feed off the weak and build their stats, but they don't do it in the big games. They didn't come to play. Ohio State lost to Michigan twice. Alabama, they lost to LSU. They lost to Tennessee. Should have lost to Texas and Texas A&M. They don't show up. But then I like Kansas State showed up against TCU. TCU showed up against Texas and the rest of them. That's why I like it. Now, I did notice, was it Dalton? No, Dilliard. The TCU quarterback got drafted in like the 7th round. He'll be a surprise. I find that the later round quarterbacks are better than the beginning quarterbacks, right? So Stroud and Richardson should never have been drafted in the 1st round. I would have went with Stenson Bennett from Georgia and the kid Hayner or Hooker, both of them. I would have went in the 1st round and not because so basically Houston and Indy. Just think about it now, right? We got C.J. Stroud starting for Houston. Are you going to bet him ever? You're gonna like, oh yeah, I'm confident he's going to win, and that's really what you do. Is you look at I'm just seeing what that noise is if it's my computer. So that's what you're looking at. So you got C.J. Stroud quarterbacking Houston, and they're laying 3. They're playing Miami and they're getting 3. Are you going to bet on them? Or maybe they're playing Buffalo. Buffalo's laying 7. Are you gonna bet on C.J. Stroud against Buffalo, against Cincy, against Pittsburgh, against Baltimore? Not a chance. You're betting tons and tons the other way. You're betting on those teams because C.J. Stroud is not very good. Richardson, on the other hand, is even worse. He's nothing. He can't throw. He can't. All he can do is run a little, but he didn't even show up in those games. So in the bigger games, Kentucky, Tennessee, not even the Georgia he got killed, but Kentucky, Tennessee, he didn't really show up. He didn't get any wins. He beat Utah the first week, was more Rising throwing that interception somehow. But if you had the teaser, he still won. That's why you bet the teasers. But that wasn't Richardson winning the game. That was their defense. So that's what I'm looking for in the draft. The running backs, and then how does it fit on the team and the coach? And then you're looking at the coaches. Now, look what we all of a sudden Denver has my man. What the fuck is his name? I can picture him. I hate when I do this. I'm thinking of something else. I come over here. I picture the guy, Sean Payton. There, thank you. So all of a sudden Denver gets Sean Payton. Seattle's got Coach Pete. All of a sudden you got some pretty good coaches. Now I feel comfortable betting on him because he's going to figure out how to win. And that's really what you're looking at with Denver. All of a sudden they got some running. He drafted a running back. He's got Russell Wilson. He drafted a good receiver. He got some good defense. He'll put in the good system. And with Russell Wilson, his play will elevate. Look out for Denver. That's why I say Denver could beat Kansas City this year, and it wouldn't surprise me. KC could have that letdown. They win the Super Bowl. Now who's angry? Cincinnati's angry. They didn't get to the Super Bowl, right? And then who else is angry? Frisco, well, they're not angry. They got injured. Philly added a bunch of Georgia defensive players, which goes to that's what you should do. And so Philly made their defense better. They still need a quarterback. Howard, how can you say it's Jalen Hurts? Same way I say Josh Allen's not good. Josh Allen, if you blitz him, and Cincinnati blitzed him a lot, he did nothing. And same thing with Hurts. If you blitz him, he doesn't know what to do with it. And all they do is run that stupid quarterback sneak. I can't believe that's a football play. It's not. This pushing and shoving. It's just, this is what you want. This is your product. Oh, it's 4th and 1. We're going to push the quarterback ahead for 2 yards. And I'm waiting for the defense to diagnose that and figure out, how do we do it? They can't go around. So if they go under, it's not. So they gotta go through the gaps. And then I'm wondering how smart Philadelphia is to do what Dave Casper and play action pass. So far, you've just seen quarterback sneak push. You've not seen anything off of that, which would really open the play up if he did something like that. I'm not sure I would have my quarterback take the snap. He'll get hurt. And if I'm defense, the only thing I can do is put more guys in the hole than they got blockers. So if they're blocking 3, I got to have 4 and just figure out where he goes. And then these guys that push from behind, just neutralize them. I got to have more, I got to have my guys come up and push back. It's like a tug of war. They're pushing, but if I'm pushing, they don't go anywhere. So that's what I would do to Philly, but that's such a bad play. Does it work? Yeah. Is it a good play? No, it's a stupid play. It shouldn't be in the game. You should not be able to push the running. The running back's got to gain on his own. It's like baseball when the guy gets to second base in the 10th inning. He didn't earn it. You go to second to start the inning. What is that? You've got to earn your way on base. You got to earn your yards your way. You can't have somebody push you for 10 yards. And I hate when the TV analyst or radio analyst, oh, look at him, keep going. He ain't going. He's being pushed 10 yards. He ain't running for 10 yards. He should be down. The ref should stop for forward progress, because really that's forward progress is over. But anyway, so that's my theories on the draft, which is pretty damn good because I see how it plays out. Montana at Notre Dame, you could see he came back in the Cotton Bowl against Houston. He beat USC. You could see the way he threw the ball. So you knew he was going to be good in the pros. Why he waited the 3rd round is because he's too small. He doesn't have a big enough arm. All the things that aren't important, that's the problem with these GMs. Oh, anybody that's under 6 feet as a quarterback is too small, even though Warren Moon, Drew Brees, this Alabama guy, Russell Wilson, they don't seem to have a problem being under 6 feet tall. I don't know why it's an issue. You're throwing into lanes. Even the guy, Tom Brady, who's 6'3" or 4, if he throws it straight ahead and the guy lifts his arm and knocks the ball down, the height's really not even a factor in quarterback. It's getting the lane where the guard and the center create this hole, and then the guy can see it and throw the ball there. You don't need to be 6'5" to do that. Otherwise, every quarterback would be 7 foot. And that's not necessary. My foot is swelling a little bit, so not sure how long I'll go on for. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's get to what's going on with the banks and the gold. Now, I watched our guy, Alistair McLeod, was on today. And there's a few parts I want to show. So he's talking now about bullion banks. There you go, Bobby. Now you got to understand, a bullion bank's a gold bank. Now what the problem is with these is that the gold banks have all the derivatives. They're the ones keeping the price down. And if they fail, because what's going to happen is they're betting the price goes down. Why? I don't know. It's just a thing. They make money on it and somebody buys the other end. And so they're betting on the price to go down, and it's not. It keeps going up. And if the price goes up, the bank's fucked because they got all these derivatives that they owe on, and they're not making any money. They're starting to lose their ass. So if they start going out, plus that'll keep these derivatives driving the price down. So consciously what's happening is these banks and JP Morgan are writing the derivatives to lower the price because they don't want people in gold. The government loses control if you're in gold. Right now we're in a credit system. You borrow, you take out your credit card and you buy something. And the government is in a credit. They owe $31 trillion of debt. So there's all this credit. And that's the big problem. So when you see 31 million in credit, 31 trillion, we're fucked because we can't pay it back. So it's like you owing $20,000 on your credit card. You can't pay it back. What do? Well, you go broke, or you go bankrupt, or, you borrow the money maybe. So the U.S. is in big trouble because of the credit, because it's not really backed by anything. All they need to do is just go on the gold standard, but they won't do it. That'll admit they failed, and nobody wants to admit that. And basically, all these banks start going, and then then you're going to see gold really go high. Now, what Alistair's saying here is it's not always just going to go straight up. Physical will, but they're still going to intervene with the paper to keep the price down. Because once people see gold at 10,000, 15,000 an ounce, people will, why would they be in dollars? All right. People who don't listen to me and here are not getting it. They're still in stocks or bonds or whatever the fuck they're in. They're not getting it. You got to get off the Titanic. That's why I specifically called it the Titanic. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, anything in the fiat family, stock, bonds, money markets, anything in the bank, you're fucked, right? So you get everything out for two reasons. One, to protect yourself. And then, by the way, you get the only choice is gold and silver. And if you get into gold and silver, you're going to get a huge price increase because it's been held down. And that's what we know, we talk about, and we do it. And that's your way out. That's also the government's way out, but they won't do it. So what's happening is all these countries are sending the dollar back because they're realizing it's going bankrupt, right? They realize what's happening. Do you want to own US dollars, or let's say Canadian dollars, or let's say Swiss francs? And they're like, no, I'll keep my money in Swiss francs. I can control that. The US dollar. So what normally happens is you buy US dollars because you think it's safe haven, but it's not. And you end up going into your own currency, and then you end up printing your currency to buy gold. And the best thing that JP Morgan and the banks are doing is keeping the price of gold down for the central banks to buy more gold to stay solvent. But that's what's happening. This is a fiat disaster. It's a Keynesian disaster. The Keynesians don't even understand gold. They think we'll just keep printing more money, as if it has no consequence, that if you keep printing, the less it's worth. Let's go to Germany in the 1920s. What happened? And the thing is, it's when you lose confidence in the currency. So the biggest thing is you realize it's not prices going up. It's you're printing the dollar to zero. There's no purchasing power left. But people don't realize that. Once people realize that, like they did in Germany, once you realize that that's what's happening and you're fucked, then you just get rid of the money because you realize I'm losing more and more money. That's why we're in gold, because you can't lose money. You're in gold. I want to read something to you if I can crawl over to it. What a pain. Maybe it's here. Yeah, here it is. So that's what you're realizing is it's the value. So what do? We get into gold and silver because real assets protect you. because it's the money. This is what's losing value. So it takes more of these to buy Oreos, to buy Lucky Charms, to buy gold and silver, to buy a Rolex. That's why those are safe, because that's what you're really doing. So I wanted to share hyperinflation with you because nobody seems to understand what the fuck it is. So there's three kinds of, where's my three types of, the one with three columns.
Stephen K. Bannon here from the boardroom. The American financial system is in total, complete meltdown. Let me be brutal.
The many more banks.
Shut the fuck up. Anyway, I have one. I think I've got it out. I was watching this thing, and the guy's talking about hyperinflation. He doesn't understand what it is. So I need to correct him. Where's my definition? Hold on. It's the worst type of inflation. Oh, come on. Just a second. Anyway, hyperinflation is when they're printing the money and everybody realizes that it's not worth anything and they immediately sell it. And hyperinflation is the fear of that the money's worthless. So as soon as you get it, you realize it's losing value. That's what hyperinflation is. Oh, come on. Where is this? Well, I'll have to find it. I don't want to waste too much time. Oh, come on. I must have more pages. That's the problem. You start pulling, when the page rips off of here, you kind of stick it to the side. Yeah, it looks like it was right here. Well, anyway, that's what hyperinflation is. I will look more for where the hell I put it, but I will bring that to you tomorrow. Wonder if there's more pages that I put somewhere. Okay. My poor foot. Oh, here it is. The one page I'm looking for, I put over there. So what you have is inflation. Money supply increases faster than prices. That means they're printing money, but the prices haven't caught up. Prices raise inflation rates. It's demand pull. It's a type of inflation. If the money supply equals prices, so they're printing money and the prices are going up, it's called cost push. Now here's the worst stage, hyperinflation. the money supply increases, but prices increase faster. Expectations drive the whole system. That's what hyperinflation is. It's not inflation at 50%. I heard that today and I'm like, no, that's not what hyperinflation is. It's the fear. It's people getting scared that, oh my God, the value of the dollar is going down. The prices are going to go up. I better get rid of my money as soon as I get it because it's not going to hold value. That's hyperinflation definition, period. So that is what we're trying to get ahead of. So our team here, our class, is saying, you know what? Instead of waiting for this to happen, what we're going to do, we're going to go buy gold and silver. Now we're not affected by hyperinflation because as the dollar loses value and the prices go up, we're fine. We're sitting in gold and silver. And if we're in gold and silver, we don't really care. We don't care about bank failures. We don't care about the inflation. We're out of the system. We're out of the loop. We're just gold and silver. It should go through the roof because you're printing more dollars and it takes more dollars to buy the gold and silver. That's what's puzzling. And that's why we realize it's being fixed by the JP Morgans and these bullion banks are fixing what's going on by doing that, right? So they're trying to keep everybody stupid. So they're not going to tell you what I'm telling you. So what happens? You see gold 2,000 an ounce. Well, wait a minute, all this inflation, why isn't gold 3,000 an ounce? Because it would be probably 20,000 an ounce now if they let it go to demand. But they don't. They derivative it with the paper bullshit, thinking people are stupid. And it works because people go, oh, I don't want to go into gold. I'll go into houses, I'll buy stocks, but I don't want to go into, I'll just put my money in the bank. It's safe there, okay. Are we watching what's happening in the banks? And all the banks are failing. It's not, okay, First Republic failed. That's it. No, all of them are. I'm in Michigan. Comerica's ready to go out. All of them are going out. JP Morgan will go out because he's got to do the same thing that all the other banks do. He might be buying the assets, but he better get the fuck rid of them because they're going to all lose value. I mean, if he owns bonds or whatever, what is he investing his money in to pay out people? And if people are now in JP Morgan and they want their money, he's going to have a bank run just the same as everybody else. So he's not there. Now, the fact that he runs the Federal Reserve is a big different, that's why it's go to JP Morgan, because who runs the government? The banks. And who runs the banks? The JP Morgan. And the big banks are run by that. They run the government. And they're making their money, although they're fucking up everything and they don't realize. And basically you got idiots in charge. You got like high school kids running the government. That's the problem. If anybody thinks this is planned out as this is a plan, you're out of your mind. Nobody could be this stupid except for the government employees. They're fucking up. They don't know what they're doing. They're all Keynesians, which tells you Keynesians has been proven wrong in the 30s, right? The Great Depression was caused by the Keynesians. It doesn't work because the government can't print money and just keep going and get gold out of the equation. You must have gold to anchor your dollar, so you got to keep the value of it. I mean, it's just like us. If we have gold, we have value. If we just have paper, if I just have this, do I have value? No. But when I have gold and I show you my gold and silver, that's value that will not go down. It's going up. That's why we're saying this. It's the biggest lock of our lives is to buy gold and silver now. You won't lose. You make a fortune. Now, there'll be, like now, it kind of goes down. I thought it was way up today. I'll get back to you in a minute, Alistair. So let's see, gold price. Wow. See, after the 10 o'clock came to 10:30 and it went whoom. So it went from 2011 to 2026. It's now 2024. Now, of course, we add a zero to it That's what the more or less price. Silver's jumped to 25.40. Notice they're jumping, but then they keep hitting these limits. So once silver goes past 26, it goes to 35. And it's just, they're holding on by threads. They're just holding on by their fingernails. There's really no reason. And the same thing with gold. Once gold gets over 21, or I don't know where the next levels are, but again, that's COMEX. We don't give a fuck about it. That's why I get angry when I hear that. Let's see what my girl wants. So being in Russia, it's like 7:30. So I wanted to show you this. I apologize for that, but it's 7:30 there, and so this is what's good for her. So we're on long enough.
It's challenging to economically support a blade with plastic to make.
If this banking crisis.
All right. So what do we have? We have a bunch of debt. Again, gold, silver. It's not. The dollar's going down because it's free floating, right? It's not backed by anything to keep its value. So it's like anything else. If you if this was backed by gold, it wouldn't lose its value. So why the Keynesians go, well, we don't want to back it by gold because we want to print as much. Because if you do, you can only back it. You can only print as much as the gold you have, and you can't make gold. It just comes out of the ground. So it's either you got more gold. We got this much gold, and this is how much dollars we have, which is fine. You don't need more dollars. You just value the dollar higher. So what you need to do is then make the gold go up in value. So instead of $25, it's like now it's $2,000. But that's why you want to buy it now, because once the shit hits, and it's starting to shit. As you can see, all the bank failures. That's the first. That's like the third or fourth black sheep. But the U.S. is holding on. We can't let the gold price go up. So this is not market. When I talk about the ribs and we don't want to pay, that's the free market, the Mantle card and the demand and the price, the Brady card. But when we talk about the price of gold, it is not. It is demand and it is price. And the price should go up to demand, but it's not. And that's what you need. So because this is fiat currency, which means it's printed and overprinted, that's why everybody's in trouble. That's why we get out of this into gold and silver, because this is free falling. There's nothing backing this up. So it just, and you're going to keep printing it. So as the people around the world get out of the dollar because they smell that it's no good, then what happens? They get out of the dollar, they send it back to the US, which to me doesn't matter. You printed this much dollars, where it is immaterial to me. if it's in Spain or Portugal or China or Russia, it doesn't matter. It's printed. The more you print, the less it's worth. So it's not like, well, it doesn't count because it's in London, therefore it doesn't count as inflation. No, it all counts. Now the fact that they're now sending it home, it's 100 countries saying we don't want it. Now it comes back. Now the other thing is the bailouts. So as the banks go under and people, take the money. And the feds have to print to cover. So you have 100,000 in the bank. Your bank goes out. Your First Republic. Okay, we're going to make you good on the 100,000. They got to print the 100,000. More inflation. The more you print, the less it's worth. The more you print, the less it's worth. So that's why that's more and more and more inflation, not less. You're printing more. You're never getting rid of it. That's why that's bullshit. 5% a year, 10% a year. It doesn't work like that. Once you've got inflation, it keeps going. You can't get rid of it. Okay, so let's look at Alistair McLean. Will bullion banks fail? That's what he did today. And I know, Bobby, you like me to tell you when he's on. So let's go to a few sources.
Accelerates, it could take out some bullion banks, and then there is no knowing what price on that basis gold will be. Don't assume it's one way, because the authorities, will probably lean on the gold price as much as possible in order to keep it under control.
This is Kaiser Johnson with Liberty and Finance, and this is the Miles Franklin Weekly Special for May 2nd through May 9th, 2023.
As a financial center, therefore, in a financial crisis, London is very, very exposed.
We have a question here from another viewer about brokerage accounts, because those are separate often
Just a
from
few
banks,
things
but
from
also
this
kind
video.
of tied into the banking system there. What are your thoughts on brokerage accounts? And also, in the midst of collapse, how do people invest in? Is there safety with respect to investing in gold miners, commodity ETFs, dividend-paying stocks? A lot of these instruments that are.
I can't believe he's asking this question. How many times have we said and Hib said you don't get in ETFs, right? You stay out of ETFs. You don't. They're not really gold and silver, and yet this idiot is asking the question that's been answered 25 times by Alistair.
Tied into the system.
Is there safety anywhere? Well, when it comes to brokerage accounts or brokers' accounts, basically, unless a broker is a bank, has a banking license, then what it would do is it will have a client's account with a bank. So, the risk, if you like, is a banking risk rather than a broking risk in that sense. Now, that said, brokers do have a problem because their business model really depends on a continuing financial bubble. Their costs have risen compared with what they were. They are market makers, so they need to have capital for that operation. There's been some comment on Schwab, for example. There was an article on the Mises website about the potential problems for Schwab. Basically, I think broking in this environment is going to be very difficult, and what I would see is that brokers are going to lose clients, and so there will be, I think, a contraction in the number of brokers. So that's I think the most important point. As to how you escape this situation. The fact of the matter is that if you get rising interest rates, you get falling financial asset values. And so, in general, that is going to be the background against which any investor is going to struggle. Now, I don't give investment advice, but what I can do is sort of comment briefly on the understanding that I don't give investment advice. I would say that it would make sense to look at miners, because the values measured in fiat currencies of commodities as a whole, along with gold, obviously, are likely to increase, not because there's going to be wonderful demand for copper or whatever, but because the purchasing power of the currencies is likely to be undermined by these financial developments. Now, that being the case, I think that the mining industry, and the one which is probably closest to me is obviously the gold mining sector and silver miners. I think it's right to say, and I'm not an expert on this, but this is just merely my observation. I think it's right to say that a lot of the weaker mining ventures have been weeded out, and the exploration companies that have survived have actually...
Okay, so basically, I'm going to put in one point here is when the stocks go down, all of them will go down. After that, then you can buy these gold miner stocks. But my point is just buy the gold and silver, because that's only going to go up, right? You got 10 ounces of gold. It's only going to go up, and it's going to be way more than you're going to get from the mining stock. So you make money on the mining stock. But again, we're secret with gold, with the coins, right? Shh, nobody, it's in our safe. It's all set. You buy the miners now, it's a 1099, and now it's pretty much known, and you got to do reports and everything else. So just let the market crash first and then go buy it. Don't try to and don't sit there going, I'll buy it now, it'll go down and come back up. Yeah, you'll never make any money that way. All right, let's try. All right.
When people contact us, they always ask, is this call?
Don't you hate these commercials
and the answer's
on
always been, it's
YouTube?
free.
What's the fucking point of these commercials?
So much for physical metals, though it's in very short supply, as I understand it. I mean, everybody I talk to, trying to sell coins to the public, and when you look at what central banks are doing.
Mentioning precious metals, we're seeing quite a pop today in the price. This morning, we're seeing
not.
gold up well above $2,000 an ounce, silver quite a bit above $25.
Watch his reaction. He looks at him like, what are you talking about?
Really, since the beginning of this banking crisis, we have seen a huge rally in both the metals.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they've...
Look at that reaction.
Behind. It's interesting. I think, the thing is obviously driven not by demand so much for physical metals, though it's in very short supply, as I understand it. I mean, everybody I talk to, trying to sell coins to the public, and when you look at what central banks are doing, when you look at the deliveries that are coming out of COMEX, I mean, it's quite remarkable. This is not meant to be a delivery market, yet tons disappear out of COMEX through deliveries every week. I think, in the very short term, you have got bullion banks who are short. They always take the short side. It's very rarely they go long. Just occasionally they go long in silver, because that's an illiquid market, and they somehow manage to do so, but they're not long of that anymore. When it comes to gold, however, the gold contract, they are short, and they're now being squeezed. And here we have banks failing. So just imagine that you're a swap, and most of the swaps are bullion bank traders, trading desks. So you're running a position. You probably net short something over $1 billion on your gold contracts on COMEX. So that's your position. Now, you're in a bank. Your management, your Treasury Department, are probably getting rather worried about overall balance sheet leverage. So they will be knocking on your door in your department and saying, "Yeah, how's it going, Elijah? I mean, do any sign of closing those shorts?"
We're fucked.
The trouble is, Mr. Treasurer, that the price of gold keeps on going up. We can't catch it. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. You can see the dilemma that they've got themselves into. And this could actually if this banking crisis, as I believe it will, accelerates, it could take out some bullion banks. And then there is no knowing what price on that basis gold will be. Don't assume it's one way, because the authorities, by that I mean Americans, Europeans, us, Brits, will probably lean on the gold price as much as possible in order to keep it under control. And I think there was some evidence that might have been going on in the last few weeks. I can't say definitely, but I would not be surprised. So this is not necessarily just a one-way ticket. But I think that what I would emphasize is that the reason to buy gold is not buying gold, it's just to get out of credit. So the price doesn't matter. You just got to get out of credit. Now, if that is correct, then the price could actually start moving very, very quickly as the banking system deteriorates. That, I think, is the immediate situation. Longer term, what we are looking at, I think, is the inflationary consequences on this credit of central banks trying, and their treasury departments, the government treasurers, trying to rescue the banking system, take on board all the losses that may be involved, and in the case of the dollar, absorb all that selling of foreigners. And foreigners, on the last count and on the US Treasury tick figures, they had over $7 billion in bank deposits. Sorry, $7 trillion. Let me get that right. The number of noughts are frightening. $7 trillion. And they have got a further $24 trillion invested in long-term securities, US treasuries, corporate bonds, and equities. So there's a potential tsunami of foreign selling about to hit the dollar. That's really actually what this banking crisis is likely to generate. So, my own personal view, my own personal strategy, if you like, in investment terms, is not to invest anymore, but just get the hell out of credit.
The one thing I did want to touch on more is the bullion banks going under. Can you expand on kind of what kind of new dynamics that would be in the precious metal markets? Because it seems like at least a lot of people speculate the precious metal markets are largely controlled by the bullion banks. So what kind of new dynamics would there be if those went under?
That's because they are more.
Well, you're right to say that the bullion market has been controlled by these banks, but there is likely to come a point where they lose that control. Now, whether it's this time or on the next banking cycle, only time will tell. But I think that the dynamics behind the situation have really escalated against bullion bank short positions very substantially. What we don't know, of course, is what their position on the London forward market is, because that's not really made clear. My guess is that the large banks have probably covered themselves with some physical. But as to their net position, I would rather doubt that they are net long if you take into account their positions on the London bullion market. What we're talking about is a completely different market environment from the one in which these traders have grown up in. They've been dealing in the London forward market certainly since the 1980s, and they don't actually understand that it's the dollar going down, if you like, if you're pricing things in dollar, rather than gold going up. They just look at it as a sort of, if you like, a piece of paper in which priced in dollars. It's actually the wrong way, but anyway, they will discover that the hard way, and I think this, on this cycle, that's likely to happen. There is another aspect of this, Elijah, which we haven't mentioned so far.
So, as what we say is the same thing, basically. They're all, you got the people who are doing this have no clue. They're all Keynesians. They're all younger. They weren't around. They just think it's as the dollar does this, the gold does that. They don't know how to give gold value, and they're trying to stop it. But once this breaks is when we really see gold jump high. Now, he said it's not just one way. It won't be one way after it goes physical. But as the bullion banks start crashing, they'll try to keep the gold price down, but they won't be able to. There's just way too much demand for it. Eventually, you can't fix when the demand says buy, buy, buy. You can't keep fixing it. So that's what we're waiting for, is that. So that's what he's saying. Let's hear his last thought here.
That is, what action would Russia and China take to protect themselves from a collapse of the dollar? Well, I think the answer is quite simple. They can only do one thing, and that is reintroduce for themselves gold standards to secure the credit values in their own currencies. And that's a very important point. I think they realize this. There's a guy called Sergei Glaziev who is...
we heard about this guy before. So basically, their only hope for Russia, China, which you already know, is a gold standard. The only really hope for everybody else is to go to a gold standard, because you can't keep printing this, and eventually people will wake up. I don't know, people just they have no clue, right? Oh, I got my money in the bank, I'm safe. How about the bank runs? How about these banks collapsing? Well, that's not, I'll just move to JP Morgan, I'll be safe. I'm in the stock market. Oh, look, stocks are fine. Gold, no, look at gold, it's 2,000, that's all it goes to. So they don't see the obvious push of gold up because they don't understand it. And they don't realize the gold standards that Russia, China are going to do to make their dollars not do what ours is. And the whole BRICS countries will really zoom up the price of gold. So they're missing all the, Tom Brady doesn't play in New England anymore, as I brought up the other day. And that's really the problem with it. Now, let me go to I saw an article that I just couldn't believe. So I saw this article about the IMF, and the IMF, International Monetary Fund, shift away from dollar occurring, but no alternative to U.S. currency exists. This is a blatant lie. This is IMF run by the U.S. trying to keep you in the dollar. So what she's saying is there's nothing else. There's no competition for that. This is it. You can't go to the other currencies, which she's right on that, until they have the gold-backed currencies with Russia, China. But the part she doesn't say is there's no alternative to this. Yes, we know it's our gold and silver is the competition to this, which is what they keep trying to hide, because they don't want you out of this into gold and silver. But what's everybody doing? The demand for gold and silver is through the roof, but they're holding the price down. So people see the price go up a little. This guy we're looking at is all excited. Oh, look at gold and silver have gone up massively, and it's like, and the guy's like, no, add a zero. Gold at 20,000 is where it should be. So it hasn't. It's gone to 2,000 from 1,700. It's all COMEX. You don't get it. This is why I can't. It's hard to watch these guys. They're so stupid. They don't know what hyperinflation is. They don't know that it's paper gold. And as soon as it goes to physical, we add a couple zeros to the end of it. So that's the point of it, is these guys just don't get it. That's why I tell you it's hard to listen to them. But it's the same thing here. So what I'm trying to say is, if you saw this article and she's saying, well, really, there's no alternative. But all these countries are de-dollarizing. They're getting out of the U.S. dollar. Okay, what does that say? Where are they going? They're in their own currency, and then they'll be in the gold and silver. That's why everybody runs to gold. It's the only out. It's the only competition for this mess. And really, there's no competition for gold. US dollar cannot compete with gold. I don't know. Gold is much stronger than the US dollar. So that's really the point. So when I read this article, I just, as Bobby would say, shake my head. I just looked at it like, and then the whole article is about, oh no, there's nothing you can do. It's the only currency to be in. No, gold and silver. See, but they won't mention gold and silver. This is the problem. It fucks everybody up. Nobody talks about gold and silver. So all this little shit is, well, you got to stay in the US dollar. So what do people do? They keep their money in the banks. Well, you've gotten 5 bank runs or 5 bank collapses. You're going to have a ton more because they're all in the same boat. They have to invest. Instead of investing in business or mortgages, they're investing in bonds. They don't know what to do with their money. And when they do that, it has no value. So all the banks, as they keep raising interest rates, are getting fucked. And really, as Alistair says, the interest rates aren't even controlled by the Fed anymore. Because of the inflation, the interest rates are going up. The interest rate's the cost of money. If I loan out my money to you, we've discussed this, but that's okay. If I loan you 10 grand, I want to get 12 grand back, but because my money's losing value, because it's not backed by anything, I need to raise interest rates to get to 12,000. And that's basically what happens. So the inflation is getting bigger and bigger. It's not going down. You can't print to get it down. You can't print to get out of this mess. Your only option is the 4-letter word gold and the 6-letter word silver. That's your only really way out. And if you would have stuck with gold, you wouldn't even be in this situation. So you're letting the youngers who don't know what they're doing, we'll print. Oh, gold's going to go down. It's inflationary. How could gold go down? See, that's the point of the whole point. So we understand inflation is government prints money to cover the deficit. So inflation is just the increase in the money supply, which devaluates it. So you're devaluing the money. So if it takes more money to buy Oreos, it takes more money to buy assets. How does it not take more money to buy gold? How can gold not go up? This is the point that makes no sense. If I'm losing value and I got to spend $5 on Oreos, how could gold be the same price? Because this has no value. This is paper. This is backed by nothing. You need it backed by gold. What the fuck are you doing? I mean, how do you sit there and look at it? It's insane. That's not that's not the way to go. So that's what you have. That's your problem. So we haven't, that's really the problem of it. You're losing value. So how do you turn it around? And if you keep it as paper, you can't turn it around. You have to, in theory, you've printed too much money, so you have to burn the excess money, which you can't do. And the only way you're ever doing anything, that's why you raise interest rates, is people put their money back in the bank. But with all these bank runs, you're not raising interest rates. That ain't going to work. People aren't putting their money in the bank. They should be taking the money out. If you have more than 10 grand in the bank, you got to get it out. If you got 100 grand in the bank, do you really want to lose your 100 grand? Because you ain't getting it out. FDIC, and keep in mind, so if they print your 100 grand and give it to you, you're really only getting about 90,000, because what they're really doing is reducing the value of your money, because they printed more your 100 grand's now worth 90 grand. So even if they give you back the 100, it's only worth 90 because they keep printing because the value of the dollar dropped. That's why we're in gold and silver. And then I give you a little, the Mantle card should hold the value. The Rolex should hold the value. Those should hold the value because they're real assets. But again, I would still rather be all in gold. I'm all in gold and silver. And I got a little bit of money in the safe, and I got a little bit of money still at my IRA at what do you call it? At E-Trade. Very little in there, which I'm thinking of pulling out. Now that I got my job, then I can, because I got to pay tax on it. I'm waiting to see what happens, but I think that it's not a lot, and I think that's the best way to go. And then just go buy more gold and more silver, and just wait for it to jump because it's going to jump. Now, what you have to understand is that the Fed and the U.S. and Europe are fighting the gold price to go up. They don't want it to go up because they don't want it to look like idiots that they've collapsed the whole economic system of the world, is because these idiots print. They don't understand the basic concept of what the inflation is. And so therefore they keep printing, and therefore it keeps going down in value. Once people realize that they're all fucked and they lose faith in the currency, it's all over. We know that. That's what I teach you. However, most people are if they're in a daze. Oh, my bank's safe. I'm in Wells Fargo. I'm safe. They're not going to touch their money. They're afraid to touch their money. It's really a shocking thing that people would actually be afraid of owning gold. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Like, just buy all your gold. Well, it's 2,000. Okay, it's not going to stay paper. It's going to go to physical, because of the Russians and the Chinese realizing the only way out of this mess is to have a gold-backed currency, which will raise the price. Gold and silver will have to go up because you need more to cover the currency, right? And they have a lot of gold. So the only way is to get a gold-backed currency, a gold standard, and that raises the price. So it's not going to be, so the U.S. will be sitting there trying to keep the price down. I don't know how long that's going to last once people, and I was watching YouTube yesterday, and the one guy said, oh, by the way, I just had like $100 million order for gold. I can't even buy it for this guy. So the big money, as he said, is now coming into gold. And let's see. Let's see if I have that one. This was exciting news. Putin withdraws from Crimea. So he's given up his warm water seaport, which is unbelievable, because that's why Russians' problem. They don't have a warm weather seaport. That's what created World War I. And so they've always wanted the warm weather seaport. Otherwise, they got to go up through like the Antarctic and everything else and go a long way around. So it's a pain in the ass for them. Let's see. Well, I don't see it. Anyway, so this guy came in and he says, it's amazing how people just don't get that gold and silver are priced in derivatives, are paper priced, not real priced. I don't know why people have so much trouble with the concept, or I'm an INFJ and I see things most people don't, but they'll look at the price. Oh, it's gone up. No, it hasn't. It's illusion. Paper's paper. We want physical. When it goes to physical, the price will go up. Right now, the paper price going up is meaningless. It's fake. And I don't know how people can't understand that it's not the real price, that it's the manipulated, them selling paper to get the price down. And it benefits them because they don't want to give up this, even though it's gone, even though it's worthless, even though it's not backed by anything. The US doesn't want to give up. They're not smart enough to play the game. It's sort of like 4th and 10. Well, we'll still go for it. No, you punt the ball at 4th and 10. You're never going to get 10 yards. You punt it and then try to play defense, get the ball back. And it's almost like this is what they're not getting on these paper. It's like, no, it's not the real price. And the U.S. won't stop. They want to keep it going. They want to keep the price down. But all it does is allows everybody buying it to buy it at a cheaper price, which maybe that's also the secondary reason they're keeping the price down, getting a kickback on these other countries buying it cheap. Why is gold priced in U.S. dollars anyway? And then why are they trying to keep the price down? These are mysteries to me, because it's more than stupid. And anyway, that's how I view it. So when I see COMEX, I don't pay attention. I go, it's paper. We want physical. Russia, China's doing physical. They're coming out with the gold standard, as well a lot of other countries in BRICS. And really the only chance the U.S. has is to come out with a gold standard. You can't keep this backed by nothing, and it's just paper. So anyway, so that's our gold and silver today. So as these banks go under, and as the bullion banks go under, now they do control the gold price with the derivatives, but if they start going under, nobody's going to be able to hold them down. Here goes gold. Now, I don't know why they still think it's a good thing to short gold. This is what I don't understand. I don't know if the bank's doing it or the government, meaning JP Morgan, wants the price low so people can buy it. I don't know. But at this point, there's not a lot left to buy. So I really wouldn't look at that and say, oh, yeah, let's keep the gold price down. We'll buy more. And, well, there ain't much left. Now you got the big money buying it. That's it. And then somebody's going to want that price up. I'm sure it's Russia and China, and I'm sure the Bank of International Settlements, who run all the central banks and all the central banks in all these countries. And to pay off the debt, I'm sitting on gold. So if the price of gold goes up, I can pay off the debt. So that's really what you have. And again, it's happening soon. It's happening. So we can see it happening. Like I said, it's the Titanic hit the iceberg. So we know it's going to sink, but it takes 6-7 hours to sink. We're in that. So we've hit the iceberg, and now it's just taking time to sink, and then everybody to jump on the gold boat, and then, then we know what happens. So just keep buying. It's a buying opportunity. It's cheap. It's there's no risk. What's your risk? I'm dying to understand people. What is your risk? You're in far more risk holding this than you are holding gold. You can always trade your gold back in for this. So it's like a trial. I'm going to buy stock at $50. I'm going to buy Coca-Cola at $50 a share. You know what? And if it doesn't go up, I can sell it and get my $50. Well, I'll get whatever the price is back, but it could go up, right? That's about what gold is. At worst case, the gold price just stays. We know it has to go up because as this loses value, it takes more of these to buy the gold. So therefore, there's no gold going down because it's an asset. So we know that because it's priced in dollars until the dollar blows up, and then it's not priced in anything. Then it really is high. So are you worried about gold not going up, gold going to zero? what the dollar getting. I can make more money in what? I can make more money in Amazon stock or Microsoft. Is that what you're thinking about? I don't know about that. I'd get out of the stock market. It's been a collapse. It's just what's happened. It's just people aren't going to have the money's not going to have any value. You won't have an economy. Who's going to buy Microsoft? I mean, nobody can do it. And then people in the stock market will need money, and they will need to sell their shares just to pay their bills. And that's the key to it, right? So when they do that, that's where it goes to. All right. No questions, no comments. Awfully boring there, guys. Where's Bobby? Where did Bobby go? We need Bobby. He asked a lot of good questions. Let's look at the NBA and the NBA today. We got Boston laying 8.5, who Philly actually won game one. I think that line's a little bit high, 8.5. And that's all we got. We got one game today. Now, in effect, Boston has their back against the wall already. They go down 2-0, and then they go play 2 games in Philly, and they're probably going to split. Now they're down 3-1. They have no chance of winning. So if we carry it forward, if Boston loses, they're pretty much the series is over because then they'll be 3-1. Hey, Johnny. What's the spot or ban on baseball? Well, the spot on silver right now is $25.50. It's usually like a $4 or $5 premium. So if you went to the coin store, you could buy it for $30. Like $4, $5 over spot. Get a symphonic. Oh yeah, again with the symphonic. Ban all baseball. I don't know how anybody could go to a baseball game and watch it. It's so ridiculous. Oh, let's have shot clocks. I mean, what the fuck are they thinking? I don't really get it. So a symphonic. All right, Johnny, we're gonna look up symphonic for you. Let me just finish. So Boston's laying 8.5. I don't know enough about the teams to do over under, but if you like baseball, you want to get your money's worth. Well, yeah, well, there's not enough commercials between innings. They need more commercials, apparently. So Boston's 8.5, but in a must-win game. The question is Boston strong enough? Was there any injuries that happened? This would be a game to take Boston. They must win it. They go down 2-0 and go play Philly 2-0. And 2 games in Philly, the best they're probably going to do is 3-1 because they lost both games at home. So Boston should play a good game. I don't like the lines 8.5, and I don't know about the injuries, but otherwise I like that. So yesterday's game, the Knicks beat the Heat to even the series at 1. See, it's exactly what it was, but the Knicks were laying 10. They win by 6. They don't cover, but their backs were against the wall because Miami had won the first game. So New York had to win. So there you go. But again, the spread was 10. They only won by 6. So they didn't cover, but they had to win. That's the problem. Here, same thing, the Lakers-Warriors. The Lakers win 117-112. They're now up 1-0, and it's killing me because normally the home team wins game 1. So I don't know. That's not happening now. But I don't care. I'm not betting game 1s. But here again, now you got Golden State, depending on what the line is, backs against the wall. They can't go down 2-0 and go play LA 2 games and then think they're going to win them both. So they're going to be down 3-1. So that's really what you have. So Golden State and Boston both have to win. Now, let's see if we should have a Golden State line. So we go to Thursday. Yeah, Golden State 5.5 over the Lakers. Big number, but I think Golden State, I think they can, that one I don't mind. And that's it. So I think Golden State, you have to bet them down 1-0. Again, the question is, they should win, but will they cover? I think 5.5 they can cover. All right. So let's go to this other. The NBA rigs well, if that's the case, then bet them game 2. Although what happened in game 1 then? I personally don't know how they can afford to pay players in NBA who watches. All right. So what is this called? Symphonic. This is why the symphonic coin. Deliver your music to one of the largest networks in the industry. Symphonic distributes your music to over 200 digital services. And so what am I missing? This is music. Philharmonic. Philharmonic, okay. Is that a gold coin, Philharmonic? Philharmonic. Keeps bringing up the Philharmonic Orchestra. Austrian economic. Hey, Bobby Bo. You missed it. I had Alistair McLean's video. This is a new one. So I ran about 10 minutes of it. He basically says that the bullion banks are probably the next banks to go, which will make gold go way high. The government's trying to keep the gold down, but they're only going to be able to do it. It's like holding your fingers at a dike. You can only do it for so long till the water eventually just runs out. Just got in and see you relaxing. Philharmonics. I need to get some of those. The bullion banks are like the banks that deal in the derivatives. So as we talk about paper gold and the banks, there's Wells Fargo, I think JP Morgan, I think there's a couple in London where they're the ones who are playing the game with the derivative, right? I'll buy 1,000, I'll sell 1,000,000 ounces of silver that I don't have to you, and you're going to buy them even though you don't have them. Austrian Philharmonic. Are you talking the gold coins, Johnny? Because that's what we talk about here. Yeah, Philharmonic gold. Yeah. So that's what we talk about. Yeah, so just say gold. It's all the same. I need to get some of those coins, which are the bullion banks. So I'll figure the ones doing the derivatives, I don't know, it's like Bank of America and JP Morgan, a couple in London. So it's just they're the ones doing the scam on the price of gold. And when they go under, it's going to go way high because there's nobody left to do the derivative. So the best thing we can see for us for gold and silver is that these gold banks, bullion banks, go out. And then JP Morgan will probably buy them all, but they're all getting their shit beat out of them. Why banks are falling, Johnny? Because they so Bobby gives me 100,000, I got to give him interest, right? But I take his 100 grand and where do I invest it? Right. So I don't keep an account with Bobby 100 grand. I take his 100 grand, say thank you, and I go invest it over here because I got to cover giving him 2 or 3% in his account. So he's got 100,000 at 2%. I have to take his 100 grand and invest it and get 5%. Well, before I used to do it on mortgages or businesses, right? The individual would come in, say, Professor, I need to borrow some money. I want to buy a car. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a business. And I'd look at his credit and I go, yeah, your credit's good. I'll lend it to you. And then I lend it to him at 5%. So he gives me 5% and I give Bobby the 2. Well, what's happening is they're not doing that anymore. They're not doing the loans they should be doing. And therefore they go ahead and they do the banking. They're buying bonds, but the Fed's fucking them over because the way a bond works. So if you're in a 0% bond, it's $100 worth of the bond, right? The market value of the bond is 100. As interest rates go up, so it goes to 2%, it now goes down to 95. And as it goes to 4%, it's now 85. So the bond isn't worth what it was because the interest rates have went up. And that's what these idiots are. They're all fucked. They all went into bonds as a way of getting the percentage to pay Bobby his 2% on his 100,000. Only there's 1,000 Bobbies at 100,000, and they got all this money that they need to invest because I have to pay interest out. So if I'm paying interest out, what do? I got to go invest the money. Now, the bank of the professor would be to buy gold. It's funny how gold solves everything. So I would then buy gold with it, and I would have made more than the 5%. And then I could pay Bobby his 2%, and all the Bobbies out there, the 2%. So that's what's the problem with the banks. And they're giving loans to people that don't have good credit scores. Point of the credit score is to say, if I loan Stu money, can he pay me back? Well, if he's got a bad credit score and he is not credit worthy, why would I loan him money? I don't want to loan him money that this guy's not going to pay me back. Now I get fucked because he's not paying me back and I still owe Bobby his 2-3%. That's where the problem is. The bank runs are just simply Bobby saying, shit, my money's gone. I got to get to the bank, pull out my 100 grand now before I can't get it. And then all the Bobbies come into the bank at the same time going, give me my money. I want my money. I won't be able to get it out. Well, they don't keep the money there. They don't have an account. They have an account that we owe Bobby 100 grand, but they don't have the actual 100,000 of money in the account. This is why I tell you to buy gold and silver, put it in your safe, and then you don't have to worry about attack on Wall Street and Bernie Madoff. So then you'd be fine. What's the latest bank? The San Francisco bank, the First Republic, just went over the weekend. What is Bretton Woods? Bretton Woods is after World War II. They were looking for who's going to run everything. And the U.S. said, I'll tell you what, we'll have our currency backed by gold. And everybody likes gold and they feel safe with gold. So I said, okay, if you back the U.S. dollar by gold, we'll play with you. And so that was Bretton Woods right after World War II decided that the U.S. dollar will be backed by gold and then you can, anytime you want gold, get the money back. That's really what the derivatives were in 71 when Nixon took us off the gold standard. They didn't want everybody to say, well, we're fucked. We want our gold. So they put a lid on it and said, well, we'll control the price. That's what the intention was, but not to control it like they're doing now where it's really artificial. You want to buy bear? Go buy bear. Can't help you there. So Bretton Woods is just simply the U.S. coming out and backing their dollar by gold and all the other countries then using the U.S. dollar. And anytime they wanted, they could get the gold back by Bretton Woods. Jimmy chats, do you have Do you have gold and silver, or do you just like to chat about the weather? There you go, Bobby. I think he's a weather guy, Bobby. Austrian economics. Well, that's the way of economics that I teach. It's basically free market based on your skill level, division of labor, and freedom. Keep the government out of it. We run our own business. We don't cheat each other. We have laws. We have good, solid money. That's Austrian economics, basically. And unfortunately, it's Keynesian, which is government run, government control, and they fuck everybody over. So that's communism. Say that to your face. Where are you, Johnny? Where do you live? You in the States, or you in Canada? Or we get a few Canadians. But when I was in Spain, I had some guy from India. I haven't seen him before. I haven't seen him since because of the time difference. He liked it. Buffalo, New York. All right, poor guy. You'll never win a Super Bowl. I've never seen so much problem with Buffalo winning a Super Bowl in my life. Just set up a coin store near area. Come get some. So do you own any precious metals, Johnny? Do you own the Philharmonics or what? Josh Allen's a sheep, not a goat. Patrick Mahomes is the goat. Joe Burrow is next in line. And don't forget Aaron Rodgers. But Josh Allen can't read a blitz. So anyway, our gold price today, Bobby, is way up. It had that 10 o'clock drop and then the 11 o'clock zoom. So it's at 2024 and silver's 25.37. You can probably still get silver at 30. The Eagles, I assume, are still 35. Gold at 2024 is going to cost you almost 2,200 for Eagles, I would think. I don't know. I might go to the coin store. My foot's still bothering me, but it's anyway. So I start work Friday, so I might, now that I'm working, can afford to pull money that I was saving just in case to go buy some more gold and silver. So we think it's going to really go very soon with all these bank runs. We get a bullion. If the bullion bank goes out, which they're all going out because they're all fucked, these higher interest rates. I don't know if the Fed will raise interest rates. I think they will, but it's because of the inflation. They don't realize you're killing the value of this. So that's inflation. So you have to keep raising interest rates because if I lend you money, if I lend you, Johnny, 10 grand, I want to get paid 2 grand to lend it to you. So I want to get back 12,000, but to do that, my interest rate has to go higher. So when you pay me back, at the end of the day, I get 12,000. And because you keep valuing the price of the money, making it worth less and less, I need more and more interest. So they won't stop raising the interest rate. They're going to kill the economy, which is why I'm saying don't buy the stocks. Just stay in gold and silver. It's the simplest thing. Allen can shine, Mahomes Gleach. Jerome is about to talk in the next hour. He's going to raise rates 0.25%. Big deal. Well, the market is bullshit because that's not the reason it's going up and down. That's the reason they're giving you that it goes up and down. But really, it's not. this press conference is already known. Everybody, JP Morgan, all these guys already know what the press conference is, what he's going to say. It's not a surprise. He's not going to surprise them. They probably all talk about it anyway. They're supposed to raise by 25 basis points, but then begin to pause rates by next month. How do you know that, Bobby? Are you sitting in the Fed meetings? That's my point. How do you know? They already know. Everybody knows what they're going to do, which he will get questioned about in the conference. Who cares? Guy's an idiot anyway. If I was in charge, we'd be on the gold standard. Your gold would be 10 times the value, and we wouldn't have inflation, and we wouldn't have this big problem, and we wouldn't have a fucking war. The big money is, I was watching this one.
Turn your low energy into big fitness energy at Planet Fitness. Now,
I was watching this video yesterday, I think.
Sergey Glaziev, who is one of the chief economic advisors to Putin.
I was watching this one. Big money, da-da-da-da-da. I don't really like this guy. He's an auditor. Bank runs and rush into gold. So big money rushing into gold. So if you had a chance, watch that. What he's saying is there's millions of dollars going into gold. He's trying to fill the orders that he can't find the gold to fill the orders. So it's finally people here are waking up going, fuck, we need gold and silver, our money. So this is according to Alistair, once people realize that this is paper and it's worthless and it hit the Titanic and it's at the 7th hour and it's sinking, once you realize that it's no good, then that's the end of it, because that's what hyperinflation is. So hyperinflation, to give you the real definition, this idiot on the Liberty and Finance doesn't know what it is. He thinks it's anytime inflation hits 50%. It's not in my notes. The worst stage of inflation is hyperinflation. The money supply increases, the prices increase faster. Expectations drive the whole system. So you're expecting the money you get in to go to the grocery store to buy your Oreo cookies. The Oreo cookies now cost $10. Well, let's use milk because that's more practical. So milk is $5. Then you get more money in, and now the price of, because you're devaluing the dollar, it now costs you $8 for milk. So you start panicking and you go, oh, fuck, I get paid. I better go buy the milk now at $8 before it goes to $10. That is hyperinflation. That is the only answer of what hyperinflation is. It's when people get so scared, as soon as they get money, they go buy the goods because they realize this has lost its value, and therefore it takes more dollars to buy it, more dollars to buy the milk, but then it becomes very quickly. Like now you don't, okay, next month, milk's up a little bit, Oreos is up a little bit, but then it becomes almost daily. It's like, oh, fuck, I better go get my money and buy my groceries at this price before that price. This is why we buy the gold and silver. We don't worry about that. There's no such thing as hyperinflation with gold and silver. As this loses value and everybody loses confidence in this, then we sit there with our gold and silver going, I'm fine with it, because our gold and silver goes up 100 times. And that's why I tell you it's a game that there's no risk and a huge reward is gold and silver. And I don't understand why everybody doesn't have 95% of their money in it. As Alistair said today, he says the only cure is to get out of the fiat currency system, which is money. You don't want to be in debt. You don't want to be using this. You have to get out of this system or out of the Titanic and into the gold boat that's sitting here waiting to go. Waiting. Look, this boat sunk, right? It hit the ice. The Titanic's going, and here's the gold boat. And it ain't gonna, if it hits an iceberg, nothing happens to it. It just keeps going and going and going because they don't print gold and they don't copy gold. It's whatever you dig out of the ground. So that's the point that I keep trying to make is you have to buy fucking gold and silver. There's no risk. You're going to make a fortune in it. So it's like, it's such a no-brainer that I literally don't, it shows you, and I got to be calm with this because I got a master's in it and most people don't even know what I'm talking about. That's the problem, right? They don't get the gold, the silver. They just see it at 2000 going, well, okay, but they don't get the why. They don't get it's an asset. That's why I noticed the market like to do the opposite as time gets closer to him speaking, then tends to go the opposite way later in the day. Permission to tell you where you're full of crap, please? Yeah, go ahead, Johnny. That's what this is for. You got to prove it, though. Good luck. Oh, Bobby, yeah, I don't pay much attention to it. Oh, Ellen is a goat? Okay. If that's what you want to tell me, okay, whatever. You want to go with that. How many Super Bowls has Josh Allen won? How many's Mahomes won? How many has he been to? Burrow's already been to one. Rodgers has been to two. Well, Brady, we won't even talk about. 76ers are the best. Well, we'll see. They're one up on Boston, so maybe they are. Anyway, so you get to the point. What's going on with your family, Bobby? Are they starting to listen to you, or they still think you're like the tooth fairy? In my world, I finally talked to Jenna, and I told her, like, look, I spent $3,000 to fly us and the hotel, and I can't, I said, I can't stop it. So if you're going to leave early, we're fucked because I'm staying the week, and I don't want to stay the week without you. And that's the whole point. I said, I know you're a smart girl. You got to have a plan B in case that happens. And, well, she texted me yesterday, are you not talking to me anymore? Well, I felt bad, so I said, yeah. But anyway, I said, you've got to have plan Bs. And by the way, the coins I give you are going to be worth it. You're going to be a very rich girl in the Ukraine with the gold and silver. So be kind. They still think I believe in Santa Claus. Well, I guess that's what it is, right? You're getting, you're about to get gold and silver, and they're going to stay in money. Do they have any money? Or do they not have money? So I guess they don't care. But yeah, Santa, you're going to have gold and silver. Oh, I don't sweat the ladies. I have multiple. It's the best way to be. So basically, we're just sitting here waiting, but we know the Russians and Chinese want gold to go up. They're going to gold back it. If these bullion banks start going under, nobody's going to do the derivatives. We're going to be awfully wealthy, Bobby. So I'm going to run maybe today, maybe tomorrow to the gold store just to see what's going on. He probably has a few ounces of gold because people come in and they need money and they give it to him. Although I don't like what he's doing. If it's a Cougaran, it's 92%. If it's a Maple Leaf, it's 95%. Where bullshit, it's an ounce of gold. You should be giving people at least spot, if not more than spot. So you're making a ton on he's making a ton on the float. So gold's at 2,000. He sells it for 2,100. making $100. If you sell it to him, he's giving you $19.50, and then he's selling it for $2,100. So he's making 150, but the way gold and silver are acting, he's making a ton. Now silver, I think he gives you spot, so he gives you 25, and he sells it for 30. So there's not that much margin in it. But he doesn't understand that silver price going to the moon. So I think $3,000 will be probably conservative, Bobby. I don't. It's going to go 10%. It's going to go 1/10 of gold. Gold's probably already at 30,000. We will see. There's a Shanghai gold exchange, but I can never find the price of it. But I think it's still in American money. But soon it's going to switch, and when that switches, COMEX goes up. But COMEX is going to blow up soon anyway. So COMEX has hit the iceberg, and we're just waiting for that to sink. So hopefully soon. But we know it will. What else? So we see gold and silver going up in COMEX, and they're trying to hold. You got to realize they're trying to hold the price down, and it's still going up. And these people who are shorting it are out of their fucking minds. Like, dudes, what are you thinking that you're shorting gold and silver in an inflationary time, which means inflation? You have you basically have inflation is the decrease in value of the money, right? You're printing the money, causing it to lose value. That's the bottom line. And I don't care if Stone Cold or The Rock say so. This is losing value. So you either, but see, they don't tell you it's losing value. They'll say its price is going up. It's not us. Oriole's raising the price. Pepsi's raising the price. That's what they're telling you. And I've told you the way out of that is you don't buy it, right? So if something gets too expensive, you go to the substitute. So if I don't want Coke or Pepsi, I saw it up to $3.50 2-liter for Coke at my steak store. And then I see it like $2.79 at my Meijer's. And if I don't like it, I can either buy Diet Squirt or I can buy Diet Fago. Fago I can get for $1.09. It's all pop to me. So really, that's what you have. That's the thing. So that's what we got with gold and silver. Very soon. Start the J Friday, the job Friday. So I'm waiting for the computer, Thursday, Friday, whatever. I just did payroll, so I'm all set on that, and I can go in and where did I put the payroll? There it is. And this should be a lot like Mercedes. So I get the computer, it's SAP and Excel, which is fine. In Buffalo, you have a Mighty Taco. Okay. All right. Good for you. I don't know. I don't know how to answer these off the wall stuff, Johnny. Keep it to economics and gold and football and stuff like that. We look what the title of the class is. So I don't really get into tacos or rolls or stuff like that. So please keep your conversation to what makes sense that people want to hear in the class. The CPU is on its way. Well, supposedly I had to finish up my background check. The idiots called my company from Mercedes, and Mercedes called them back saying, yeah, he worked here. And that's all they're trying to do is establish that I worked. What I said I worked on my resume, I did. And they didn't do that. So I called the guy. He says, I already called him. So anyway, it's all set. So they're probably FedExing out the computer today for tomorrow, and I start on Friday. hopefully my foot calms down so I can actually get a full night's sleep and like that. So I don't know. It really puffed up Monday. I don't know if it's food. I don't know if it's arthritis. I don't know what the fuck it is. My back feels fine, and then my foot goes. And then when my foot goes, I hope my back doesn't go back and hurting me. So I don't know if it's all arthritis or what the fuck it is. So I went to the pool. I couldn't go to the pool Monday. I went to the pool yesterday and limped in, and it was really sore. And today I feel a little bit better. We'll have to see. But I do like going into the hot tub. I find that the water kind of cleans me up, and then I feel better from it. So we will see. You work on one screen, or do you use the laptop and a monitor? For this situation, I'll probably work on one screen. This is my personal laptop. I won't work on it. I'll look at gold and silver and our stuff. But on their computer, so maybe I'll get another screen. I don't know. But I do normally like to look at something on one screen and then do my reporting on the second screen, taking the first screen, because if it's an SAP, I can't. Sometimes you download it into Excel, then you want to get it into the Excel report, and it's just, I don't know, it's easier on two screens. Buffalo is the best city. Oh, okay, good for you. You ever been to Europe, Johnny? Go to Amsterdam. Bobby, when are you going to Amsterdam? That's the best city. What else? So the draft I talked a little bit about early in the video, just how I choose what I choose. So, basically it's pretty successful. You're looking for teams on a good defense, and you pick a defensive guy, and teams that don't play a good defense, why would you take a defensive guy from there? And really how you do against the better teams. That's why I don't like the Alabama and Ohio State quarterbacks against the better teams. They don't show up. And what are they going to do in the pros? So that's what I talked about there. We've got, it's May 3rd. So what do we got till May, June, July. So we got 3 months. And then we start getting into, I don't even know if there's exhibition football anymore. I don't know what you call it. So now they practice against each other. And what is that? So Philadelphia and the Giants practice together and kind of play two-hand touch. And that's supposed to be getting them ready for the season. And then they all blow out their knees and hamstrings the first couple of weeks of the regular season. I mean, that's seems to be it. And in the 3 preseason games, nobody plays. You have a bye the week before. What the fuck is that? Their product is getting worse and worse. It's just terrible. Hard to even watch it. I definitely want to check out Amsterdam soon. You'll love it, Bobby. Go in the summer, you'll see all the girls in their underwear, and these are really, really hot girls. I mean, you get some Ukraine and Russia, and then you get Germany, which are really hot, and Romania and Hungary. If only we had girls like that here. It's funny, Bobby, because they'll sit there and they'll say, the girl, like Johnny will go, well, why don't you date American girls? Irina would say that. Why don't you date American girls? And I go, have you seen American girls? They're all fat and ugly. Except for at the time it was Megan Fox. It says, except for her, they're all fat and ugly. And you're looking at the movie stars. Well, look at the regular girl. I mean, they're not appealing, and they don't have good personalities, and they're not like the European girls. They're much better. Once you start dating the European girls, you'll never go back to American girls. Give me money. Give me money. So anyway, looks like Putin's in trouble leaving Crimea today. We'll see about that. I don't know what to talk about with the Russia-Ukraine stuff. I just want to go to Russia and meet Daria already. It's just very. Fortunately, she's not in the war. Where Jenna's getting bombed in the Ukraine, Daria, she doesn't even know half the shit's going on. I'm giving her stuff from YouTube. I says, "Were you involved? Were you close to the mall that blew up?" She said, "What mall that blew up?" I sent her the video. So she's probably looking at it going, "Fuck, they blew up a mall in Moscow. Nobody told us." Anyway, so that's that. What else? Just keep buying the gold and the silver as much as you can, because it's gonna run out. Now the big boys come in, like this guy, big money, Russian gold. They're not buying the coins that me and you buy, Bobby. They're buying the bars, the Goldfinger bars. So we should still be able to get our coins to a point, but there's a lot less of them out there. It's like a fire sale. Everybody's buying gold, and the smarter people, the people with the money, are buying it, and that's all we care about. I mean, we know that. See, we're in ahead of the game, Bobby. We're in, and now they're seeing it, and now they're buying it, which is what we want. We want to be in first, because then it's cheap and we can buy it. And then once they buy it all, the price goes up. You can't find it. You're going to really want to spend $20,000 on an ounce of gold? I don't know. Not me. I got a few more ounces to buy at $2,100 an ounce, but that's it. I'm not, I pretty much bought a bunch. I'm in at 50 ounces, so it's now like 2,200. So I just made another 1,000 as we keep going, and it's not even close to the real value. The real value is 20,000 at least. If I do 20,000 times 50, I'm a millionaire. Yeah, there you go. I keep teasing Jenna. I go, we're going to be millionaires real soon. Like she's just like, you get me coins. Like she kind of gets it and she kind of doesn't. She doesn't realize they're going to the moon. She kind of does. I tell her, but like patience. Why do people prefer the bars over the coins? Well, I don't think they do. I like the coins better, but if you're a rich guy, if you're, I don't know, if you're Lamar Jackson now with his $260 million, you don't want a bunch of coins, right? So if I got $10 million and I want to buy gold, I can easily buy the bar. Now, the problem with the bar, am I going to sell the whole bar? With the coins, what makes it easier is I can sell a quarter ounce, and gold's at 50,000 and I can get 10,000 for it or 12,000 for it. So I can sell it in chunks. And then when I want to buy a house, I use the whole coin, the whole thing. The bar is almost too much, right, for us, because it's going to be $1 million. What are you going to do with it? So it's almost too big, but that's why they do it. If they have a real lot of money, then they're going to want to buy bars. But for us, I'll buy $10,000. Give me 5 ounces. Then I want coins, and it's easy to just take one coin. Like here, I can give it to Jenna. If I had a bar, what would I here, Jenna? Here's a bar. I mean, that would be crazy. So that's part of the reason I can give her a quarter ounce of gold, and I can carry around a quarter or a half. It's just easier to get your value out of it. That's probably the only reason. Otherwise, you're stuck with this big bar. Silver, I got a 5 ounce bar and a 10 ounce bar, and so it'll be if I want to sell more, but when it hits 2,000 an ounce, I think I have 2 plans. One, I'll sell a few ounces, get some money, whatever. The other thing I'm going to do is take, how many ounces I got, is just take 10 of them and buy an ounce of gold. And I'm going to buy gold with 10 ounces of silver all day. I probably want to buy 30 or 40 more ounces of gold with my 10 ounces of silver. because the price should go to 10th. It should go, if it's 50,000, silver should be 5,000. 10 ounces of silver buys it. I only paid my 10 ounces is I paid $250 for. I'm going to turn $250 into 50,000. You tell me where you can get that return on your investment. Well, let's say it's 2,000. I turn my 250 into 10 times 2,000 into 20,000. Where are you going to do that with no risk? That's the point I try to make, and that's how I try to show it. So what you'll have, Bobby, that's why I tell you buy as much as you can at this price, because once it hits the 2,000 and you can get 20 grand for 10 ounces that you paid $250 for, okay, your return on investment is how much? Your risk was zero. It's like, just keep doing it. Oh, well, silver's only hit $50 an ounce. This is the brushback that we get, right? Silver's only hit $50 an ounce. How's it going to go to 2,000? Because it's been derivative price fixed. Once it blows up, it won't stay at 50. It'll go way higher. But you got to realize it's been derivative price fixed, and now it's going to be physical. So you got to understand apples and oranges. That's the key to it. And that's what people don't get. They only see, well, it's never been more than $50 an ounce. Why would I buy silver? Because they are missing. They think Tom Brady's still at New England. They don't realize he's not at New England. We can't look at New England anymore because he's not there. Do the local coin stores sell 50-ounce bars? I don't think, not gold. Silver, I've seen my guy has one big thing of silver, but why would you buy it? You have to saw it off. You either sell the whole thing or you sell it. You saw it in chunks, and then you lose scrap. So there's really no advantage of that, but only if you're going to sell the whole bar. Then you're a central bank or something, right? Then you're Russia with, Putin with 20,000 ounces of gold. I'm sure he's got bars, but it's all just for show to be able to buy things. I would doubt the local coin. I would doubt your JM bullion has 50-ounce bars, maybe in silver, but not in gold. You know how much that would be? 50 ounces times 2,000 is 100,000. And then they add the little change. So it's like 110,000. I mean, I don't know if it's 50-ounce bars that they sell, like the James Bond. I don't know if they're 50-ounce or 500-ounce. That's the difference. So that's not in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is more go buy 5 ounces of gold or, a couple ounces and a couple quarters and halves and have that. That's, at least that's my target. And I bought it over time. So I now I got 50 ounces and hopefully another 5 or 10 will come out as I get this job. But that's, I started with 5 ounces. I remember I took 20 grand and I bought like 10 ounces and I was so excited. And then you just buy another 5 and buy another 5. And I was at 27 and I said, well, I'll get to 35. I'll be happy. And then I'm at 35, 40, 45, 50. And you're like, oh, fuck. And now it's just so addicted. I want to get 100. And it's just hard right now. But I think with the job, if it gives me another couple months, I can buy, another 3 or 4 here, 3 or 4 there, I'd love to get to 75 by the end of the year. Maybe I can do that. I'm not sure. But that's kind of what that's the goal because it's a no-brainer. It's not, will the price go up? It has to go up because this is going down. And the fact they're even admitting there's inflation is huge. So the fact the value is going down on this, no question, and the demand for gold is going up. Demand means higher prices. So you're in a situation where you have no risk, and because of demand and this losing value, has to go, well, will this lose its, it's losing its value, yes. There's no way to stop it from losing value. They're fucking up the economy. They're just blowing everything up. So basically what you have is gold has to go up and silver right along with it. And they're trying to hold it down, but only for a while. And then it's going to be gone and it'll be, okay, we can, because again, it's not just the U.S. So the U.S. is trying to keep it down, but here's Russia, China, and the other 20 BRICS countries and the other 80 countries who are trying to, have money. They're all into the gold. They're all into the BRICS countries. So they're the ones who want the price to go up. So it's not just U.S. and England. It's all these countries going, let the gold price go up. And they'll eventually come up with their own gold price. And then they'll eventually kill COMEX, or COMEX will have to go up to that price. I'm not sure. I don't care as long as the price goes up. So that's what you have. So what else? So I was talking to Jenna, and I kind of got into it with her on. So like I told her, I didn't like that you left early and this and that. And then I didn't talk to her for a few days, and that scared her. And then she texted me yesterday. And then I said, so I gave her a voice message. You can do voice on WhatsApp. And I said, look, I was excited to come meet you again, come see you. You picked Spain. I wanted to see you for 8 days. And I wanted to, I knew you were going to see your friend. So I didn't care about the first day. I was tired anyway, and I was sore and beat. Saturday, I wanted to go to the beach and whatever. But I said, I got to pay for the flight and the hotel regardless, right? It's $1,200 for the hotel. It's $1,000 for the flight. That's already a done deal. And your flight, in Europe, it's a couple $100 to get a new flight. So, I'm trying to tell her that and explain it. Look, I'm looking forward to seeing you. You can't leave early. And you're too fucking smart to leave, to not have plan B that if your son has to go, somebody else does. So that's where I kind of put it. But the point is the observation. What the fuck really happened? And, okay, it was the dog. And so I kind of cleaned that out. But again, by having the Russian gal not being dependent on the Ukraine one, I have control. And then I'm saying, hey, do that. So I can assure you next time we meet, I'm going to say, look, you can't leave. You cannot cut it short. And if you do, I can't see you again. So we'll see what happens in the summer. Preferably I can go meet the Russian, but we'll see, because I haven't met her yet. That's what I want to see. But anyway, so again, it's about observation. You observe the people and you go from there and use experience. You use the action reaction. Teddy KGB eating the Oreo. What's amazing in that movie is all the people that are supposedly these pros. So when I watch it, Kanish is the best pro and this guy's a pro. And these are all, the flounders and the sharks. And none of the sharks can understand that Teddy KGB eating the Oreos is tell. That's the first thing I noticed, because I said people drink when they're comfortable at the table, they have a good hand. When they're bluffing, they're nervous. So if he's eating an Oreo, do you think he's bluffing? Or do you think he's got a good hand? Then there's a scene when he doesn't eat there. He unscrews the Oreo and then puts it back, doesn't eat it. So even that, when you get that, when you see that he doesn't eat it, something's got to go. Oh, he ate it. He didn't eat it, and go from there. But that's what you need to look at with everything. So you're looking at people with that, sports, gold. You have to look at action reaction. You have to kind of see what's going on to make, what you're doing there. So I guess that's it. Football we covered. Basketball, we're going with the Golden State in game 2. Boston needs the game tonight, but it's a big number. We'll see. We got to see how how good did Philadelphia beat them in game 1. So Philly maybe is playing well. Well, it's a big number. And that's the difference between the playoffs and a regular game. When football, if it's week 8 and they're laying 11, we go, that's too much. But in a playoff series, the teams get their back against the wall. What would be too much? You don't know if it's too much or not, right? So what would it be too much with the line? No, it's 11, but in a playoff series and they have to win, it might not be. But I would have a hard time playing Boston tonight because they're laying 10.5. I think they'll win, but I think they'll do what the Knicks did, which was win by they only won by 6, laying 10. So I just think it's a big number at this point to do it. Golden State, almost as like last year when we put the 50-star lock on them beating Toronto and they killed them in game 2. It's almost the same thing. We're laying 5.5. They must win or they're down 0-2 going back to LeBron. So I think they have to win. We will see. But that's what we got there. So it's all logic. Football, we've talked. Poker, just watch your tells. Watch what the guy tells you and see if it's real or not. I think is the best way because I do fake tells all the time because I know they're looking for tells. So I'll give them a tell. It might not be the one they're looking for, but it's the other story. What else? So we know gold and silver. We know the banks, economics. Talked about inflation. And it's just the value. It's a no risk, buy gold and silver. So I think I'll go. It's 2:00. Maybe I'll drive to the gold store. A little bit of traffic, a little bit of construction, but I think I can be okay. And just go and see what he's got, not necessarily to buy. I might buy silver, but anyway. I'll be better, like Friday, I'll start my job, then I'll be better to go by Saturday going, okay, it's all right, and everything's fine. Anyway, I'm like that. Once I get, okay, now I can count on it. And Monday I get Social Security. I'll do that one more month, and then I think I'll freeze it. You can freeze it. So if you go back to work, I can say put it on hold, and then I'll tell you when I'm done working, then we'll start it back up. But I get it for the rest of my life. Well, until they fuck around with it and they say, oh, we got to cut it because we can't afford it. Because we printed too much money and now your Social Security's hopefully cut. But anyway, we'll see what happens there. So, Bobby Bo, you have a nice day. What are you having for dinner, Bobby Bo? You still there? All right. So have a good day. www.teaserking.com. A little early for football yet. I'll post by July. I'll put everything out. But I got to go buy my football magazine, which I'll buy, probably comes out in June. So 1 month. It's really for college. I don't really do much for pro. Even now, college with the fucking portal. Hey, Bobby Bo. LSU national champs. Now with that quarterback, unfortunately. I do think Kelly is a good coach. I wouldn't surprise me. But wait a minute, Bobby. You got to clear something up. You told me point blank Boutte was not in the draft, and he got drafted by New England. Why did Boutte get in the draft, Bobby? Your information was no good. And then he goes to New England in the 7th round. Why didn't Cincinnati grab him in the 5th or 6th round? They could have had Boutte and Chase. Fuck. What a team they had. They had Burrow with Chase and Jefferson. No wonder they won every game by 50 points. Who could fucking cover them? Wow. Yeah, I'm serious. I read it and I was thinking of you going, oh no, he's not coming out this year. And I'm going, if I'm Cincinnati, that's my first pick. And they didn't even draft him. Maybe they listened to you and thought he wasn't in the draft, didn't realize it. I saw a post where he announced he was coming back next year. I swear, I believe you, Bobby, but he then changed his mind and went in the draft. Probably didn't like the quarterback. He's New England picked him in the 6th round or something. Yeah, I was pretty pissed off. Yeah, I'll show you. Sixth round, 10 pick. Can't fucking believe it. I can't fucking believe Cincinnati didn't take him. There he is. It's fucking New England. And the rest of their draft sucks. I mean, look who New England got. They got the cornerback from Oregon, 1st round, Kenyon White, an edge from Georgia Tech. I don't know. Then they get a guy from Sacramento State. Jake Andrews, they don't even list a college. Oh, no, he went to Troy. Then they get a kicker from Maryland. And then they got a guard from Eastern and a guard from UCLA and Butte and a punter. What the fuck? They drafted a punter and a kicker, a guy from Liberty and a guy from Troy and a guy from Eastern Michigan and a guy from Sacramento State. What the fuck are they doing? So anyway, yeah, there he was. 6th round of New England. Unbelievable. Yeah, Daniels didn't take advantage of having him. Well, because he can't throw. That showed a different name, Professor. What are you talking about? What name did it show? Tayshaun Boya. All right there. That's our boy. So maybe he won't stick, and then he'll be a free agent to Cincinnati. Maybe it's part of the plan. Anyway, yeah, I was a little disappointed. Cincinnati, they did get a receiver though, so look out. I wish they got. I didn't understand why they didn't get Meyer, the tight end from Notre Dame. He's a superstar, and they took somebody else. It was really strange. Yeah, I see it. I'm showing you the draft because I was just going through team by team, and I couldn't believe what I saw. And I said, Bobby told me he wasn't being drafted. What the fuck? How can Bobby be wrong? Well, maybe he went to Zappy. We got to figure out what Mac Jones is doing, if he's even playing or not. But anyway, so that's what we're looking at in the draft, how you did against other good teams. That tell you the only one is CJ Stroud, I guess, had a good game against Ohio State. I'll have to watch that game again to see. I think he ran a lot. I was playing poker that night, so I caught bits and pieces of it. And I saw Ohio State was up, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was like 21-0 or 21-7, and then, here came my man Stenson Bennett. Boom, 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 and it was 21-all. Second half, they just shut him down, and that was, But I was shocked by that Ohio State did anything. But that's my point. He didn't beat Michigan in 2 years. This guy sucks, Stroud. And the coach better watch it, because if he loses this year, Ohio State's going to have a new coach, because you do not lose 3 years in a row to Michigan and keep your job. Ask that guy from what, in the 90s, he was like 100 wins and 10 losses, and it was all against Michigan, and they had to fire him because he couldn't beat Michigan. So we will see. But otherwise, I think that's about it. Buy your gold and silver as much as you can now. We don't have much time left because you can see the bank failures. You can see Russia, China trying to get money back by gold. I don't know how this is going to move you into digital currency. Now, don't get confused, because it's digital currency. If it's not backed by gold, it's the same bullshit. So if they do come out with digital currency and they don't back it by gold, the same thing is going to happen. It's going to go to zero. So the key is to have your currency backed by gold. If your currency's not backed by gold, you got paper crap, and it's going to be worth zero. So always remember that little thing. If you don't remember anything else I've taught you, if the currency's just back, if it's just paper, it's headed for the Titanic. Always 100% of the time. I was talking to the guy at the Philly airport. He says, "You think it's going to go to zero? Like, well, what do you think? It's going to go to 10 and stop? Like, you're falling down the well, and you think, so you're going to stop there, or you're going to go all the way to the bottom? This goes to zero. This doesn't go to, it doesn't go from 20 to 10 and stop. It's going down. The Titanic hit the iceberg. It doesn't stop mid hit. It goes down. That's what happens. So it's going to zero." Mac Jones is, yeah, but he played for Alabama, Bobby. Come on. Mac Jones really bothers me. Gold is currently 2035. Well, I think they already know it's moving. Gold's moving now because of what they're going to say in the thing. That's the point. Well, again, that's paper, but yeah, that's you need to add 2 zeros to that, 2,500, and you need to add at least 1 zero to the gold, 20,000. That's the real price. So when you quote me these, and when I even quote it to you, it's paper price. It's derivative. It's these bullion banks setting the table, but not the real demand supply. It's not the real thing that I teach, right? So when I tell you the Mano card's up here, the price is with it. But in this case, the gold's up here. The price is trying to get there, but they won't let it go. Well, we got to keep it down. We got to keep it down. And the demand's higher and higher and higher. And the price needs to go where the demand is. And this is like the only thing it doesn't do it. And what we're saying is it's going to do it. Eventually, it's going up to the demand. And it's being held down, but you can only hold it down. We'll hold it down, and then eventually it escapes. You can't just keep. There's too many buyers in the world. U.S. or Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, South America, Brazil, and Argentina, and all these countries who are looking for a competition of the dollar, and the competition of this is gold. I think were you here when I showed you that article, Bobby, about the I don't know if you were here or not. Anyway, there was this article I did. So she says, shifting away from the dollar, and she says, but no alternative to U.S. currency, which is total bullshit. We all know what the alternative is. It's gold. And it's really not an alternative. It's the competition. Gold is the competition to the dollar, as we talk about competition and the Bobby Bow gym shoe versus the Nike or whatever. And that's the point, is there's competition. They're trying to say this is a monopoly, but it's not a monopoly. I mean, I can buy euros if I want, or I can buy Swiss francs. It's not a monopoly. it didn't have more value than the euro. All I know is in Spain, the euro is worth more than the dollar. So I don't know how you can say there's no competition for it. And we all know the real competition is gold and silver, which is the real money. So when I read that, I was a little bit taken off by it. But yeah, no alternative except for gold and silver. That's why nobody thinks that it never gets out there. They put this out and they say no alternative U.S. currency exists. And they print it, and then you believe it because you don't know. So you don't know. So you think, oh, okay, I guess there's no alternative. But there is alternative. It's called gold and silver, the real money. And that's my point. That's the real currency that we have. And anyway, that's what you need to know. I think that's it. I don't know what else I can cover. Let's go into my economic notes for you, Bobby. See if there's anything I can. It's better to work as a team than do it all by yourself. That's true. That's Adam Smith. It saves time. There was a thing where the guy wants to make a pen. Well, you could never make a pen on your own. You need somebody to make this and somebody to make this, somebody to make that, somebody to put the ink in it. So you need 20 people to make the pen is the point. One guy can't make the pen, but 20 guys. So all I do is make this, and all I do is make this, and all I do is make this. All I do is make that. All I do is put the pen. So if I have 20 people doing it, I can make a lot of pens. If I do it on my own, I can't make any pens because it takes too long to do all those parts. So that's really what they're trying to say. That's really Austrian economics. And the benefit of it is really that, right? The division of labor. Look at trying to make a car. You think Mercedes can make a car by itself, or do they need all the suppliers for tires and the steel, the paint, the dashboard, the back seat, the front seat? I mean, the air conditioning, the heating. I mean, you could never build a car by yourself. The one that Adam Smith uses, they use is the airplane, where there's like 20,000 different suppliers to make the Airbus. And it was just so big, but it was all little ordering from all these pieces. And that's the beauty of it. Everybody gets rich. Everybody does their own little thing. You do what you enjoy. That's the point of Austrian economics. And I was watching something that really irritated me the other day. It was talking about this guy keeps doing the same fucking thing. For the 100th time, you have no idea what's coming. You have no idea. Okay, we've heard it about 52 times. We get it. And then he's stacking his silver. I love it. Anyway, there was one I watched. There was one I watched on the difference between capitalism, Austrian economics, and Keynesian. And my first thing is classical economics and Austrian economics are the exact same thing. They try to say they were different. No, there's two economics. There's Austrian classical or there's Keynesian. That's it. They're not. They're the same thing. It's the freedom that's in classical and in Austrian is the same thing. The Keynesian is government run. It's communism, and that's everybody's using it. We'll print money. That's what you're dealing with, idiots. Then they try to badmouth it and saying, well, the Austrians don't want to use models or math. They don't want to use math formulas to do anything. You don't need the formulas, as I've said, and it's like the formulas are no good when Tom Brady leaves New England for Tampa. You can't use your New England models because Brady's not there. It's a whole change, and that's what this idiot's trying to like. Well, Keynesian's better because they use models, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Models don't, or you don't capture all the variables in a model. Like I'm saying with Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Russell Wilson now on Denver, you're doing a whole different thing. So what are you talking about? Anyway, I think that's about it. So that's what we want to do. Just know they're devaluing the money. It's worthless. I'm telling you now, even though it's not, it's sinking, right? So all you can do is know it's sinking. And you just have to understand that, and that's what it is. And it's not my opinion. And you can see it all over the place. And it's just strictly the reason you're getting out of it is because it's losing value. So it's like, let's say it's a car. So you're in a car and it's depreciating and it's got 100,000 miles on it and it's going to zero. So what do? You buy a new car that is fresh but you know that the car you own is going to zero. I just did that. I had an 03 Camry and I bought an 18 Camry. So I had my car for 15 years. I'll tell you, I probably could have held it a couple more years, but there was no problem with it. There was no, it just gets worn out. And that's really the currency. It's going out. I mean, that's what happens. And, but with gold, it doesn't wear out, right? Gold never wears out. Gold's indestructible. That's the beauty part. It's pretty and it can never go to zero. That's the biggest part of gold. So good luck with that. Anything else? I'm gonna ice my foot a little bit more, and that's about it. Questions, Bobby? I'll play your song as we leave.
Lindor, made to melt you by the Lit Master Chocolatier.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
I bet the Rock owns gold. Bobby, next time you talk to the Rock, see if he owns gold. I'm going to try to go to the gym if I can walk okay. But I haven't seen the communist in a while. They must have sent him back to Russia. So if I can walk fairly decent, so I can hot tub and maybe just stretch a little bit in the pool and just kind of walk and loosen my foot up, I'll do that if I can. If I can, I just have to wait and go tomorrow. And I'm out of food except for I can make an omelet and stuff like that. And so it's hard to walk right now. It's hard with the shoe. I put the shoe on and it like my foot's bigger than the shoe and it really swells it up and it's really painful. So like I put the ice on it when I can, but it's not too bad now. But again, it's hard to walk. I got to walk kind of straight and sideways a little bit. That's what you can walk into the gym with that music. There you go. Yeah, I get a lot of attention that way. Yeah, it's an indoor club. Think of it like Lifetime. So the pool's indoor, the hot tub's indoor. They have other areas where the pools are outside, which they'll open up, I think, Memorial Day. I I don't know why they wait till Memorial Day. It's crazy. But yeah, there's pools outside. But in this place, the whole thing's there. The bikes are there. The weights are inside. The whole thing's inside. It's basketball. They do this floor hockey. I don't understand, Bobby. They play floor hockey with equipment. These guys have pads on. They bring 2 sticks. I'm like, all right, I played floor hockey. I didn't wear any equipment. I had 1 plastic stick, and you couldn't stop me. That was my best sport, I think, floor hockey. I could fake the goalie out every time. I would kind of lean in and then flick it, and the goalies couldn't think as fast as I could think. But being an INFJ again. Yeah, so the whole club's inside, but they do have outdoor pools. If it's a nice June day, you can go to another facility to use the outdoor pool. Floor hockey is when you play with plastic sticks and a plastic puck and nets on a gym floor. So you're not skating, but you're playing hockey, but it's a different, it's I guess called floor hockey, where it's just you're doing it on the gym floor as opposed to on ice. That's what it is. I played it in when I was in like 6th grade. I was great at it, but I don't know. They all wear the equipment and the knee pads and bring 3 sticks. Like, do you break your fucking stick in floor hockey? I can't believe that. So anyway, just hysterical. But that's what it does. So they have basketball. If you want to play, there's like 2 big courts and weights and everything else. So on the weekend, I'll go watch football. I'll get on the bike. So I do the bike mostly, and then I can watch the game. Then I go in the pool, and they have this board up that's a clock. Now, when I was in Romania and I stayed at this hotel, they had a music video screen at the pool, so you could watch the music videos. And I keep bitching, why don't you have a big screen up and put the football games on when I'm in the pool doing my workout? Like, you got a big screen showing the clock? That's government waste, right? How much did they spend on this big screen that's a clock that has, and I love it, is the numbers switch colors. So they'll be white, and then it'll be blue and red and pink. And I always love the blue. I said, put the blue on. And all it is it shows the clock. It's 9, it's 2:17 and 2:18. And you're like, how much money did you waste on this? That's what government does. Would you buy one for your house? I mean, you got to be kidding me. But they do it at the government's good at spending money like that. So anyway, I think that's about it. So again, be careful to listening to the wrong person. They have their, like the one lady saying, "Oh yeah, there's nothing else besides the U.S. dollar." She's lying. There's gold. Well, that's not money. It's the only money. Gold is the only money. This is not money. This is currency. This is fiat. This is trust in the government. Who trusts the government? You got to be kidding me. So that's the difference, is gold is the money. So how do you say gold does not compete with this? You're out of your mind. Probably doesn't, because who'd want this if you could have gold? So again, all you're doing is transferring $2,100 of this shit for an ounce of gold. That used to be $35. But it's still an ounce of gold. So what's changed in that scenario? Yes. The paper has been diluted down and down and down. Well, yeah. I could do that. I would assume be the well, you know what I would do? The first thing is we'd all be on the gold system, and I'd get rid of the central bank. And then I'd get rid of 90% of the government we don't need. And I'd fix up the laws and the judges. That's all I would do. Boom, you're dead. You're gone. You're gone. Federal Reserve, you're gone. Don't need you. Don't need you. And get rid of all the crap. Get rid of all the bureaucracy. Get rid of TSA. 9/11 was a gold robbery. It was not a fucking thing. Clear that up. Anyway, it's a very economics explains everything. But when they don't give credit for the economics, I got to look for this. I mean, basically, all right, let me search it. Yeah, here's what I was watching. Well, no, it wasn't even this one, but it was classical and Austrian are the same thing. So I don't get why they sit there and they try to, they always see we've already proven Keynesian doesn't work, but they keep. So here's kind of a good thing here, right? Keynesian, Austrian is less government. Well, it's less taxes, less spending, it's freedom. It's let the market do it. But they're basically they basically try to poo-poo it because they want Keynesian, so they tilt it to their side. And that's what they do. Looks like Johnny Chats gave up on the Buffalo stuff. Yeah. Well, that's what I tried to tell him is bring stuff that the class wants to hear. This is a perfect example, Bobby, right? What is he comes in, Buffalo's a great city. Gives a fuck. I don't care. Is it not? I don't care. I don't live there. Even if I live there, I don't care. I don't care. Do you try living in Detroit? It's not a great city. It sucks. It's a fucking communist city. You must have come to the reality that Josh Allen's nothing more than a certified choke artist. He's not even a choke artist. He can't read a blitz. So he's not that good. And I've already stated that. You know how I feel. Anyway, I'm going to go ice my foot, make some eggs or something, see if I can go. If I go to the club, then I'll soak it in the hot tub and try to walk it. But I don't know if I'm there yet. I'll see. All right. Well, have a good day, Bobby. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Buy your gold and silver. I know I've been saying this for 2 years. You don't have much time left, and I thought it would be up by now. But it shows you what we're up against. The government doesn't want gold to go up. It's not because supply and demand. It's not that there's no demand. It's just not getting through that the demand for gold is not hitting the price. So therefore, we keep buying it because it's cheap. It should be $1,000 an ounce. We can get it for $30 an ounce. How can you not keep buying it? Oh, well, it'll never go to 1,000. That's the rub, is people thinking it won't go, and we know it will. So that's what we're trying to do. Anyway, I think that's about it. I will try to see you tomorrow because we all know Friday I start work. Now I'll be home, so I don't know. Depending on what my hours are. So if my hours are like, I can work 7 to 3:30, or maybe 7:30 to 4, then maybe we'll do this class at 4:30 for an hour. But I'll definitely do the weekends. That's for sure. And that's about it. And being contract, I don't think I'll have much overtime. So, and I really don't want a job with overtime just because of all this extra stuff I do and the football and the economics and the gold. I don't really want to work one thing for so many hours. I'd rather do my 8 hours, get paid, do my football, do my gold and stuff like that. All right, www.teaserking.com. You're welcome, Bobby. I hope you're okay, and go buy more gold. And so buy some gold for me already. All right. You take care. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you tomorrow.